Hello friends, welcome back to my channel. My name is Melody and welcome to my Simple Valley home. In today's video, we are going to be doing a lot of fun fall projects around the house. Fall days are finally here and let's go ahead and start decorating a couple more spaces in my home before my fall home tour. Still making my home extra cozy and warm for the holidays is definitely a must. So we are going to be decorating the last few spaces, and that is my buffet. And I'm also excited to share with you guys my new sideboard that I received from my girlfriend Ashley as a gift. We're going to do a temporary refinish on the top, and we're also going to redo the lamp. And our last two projects that we are going to do is a DIY candle and a beautiful Mod Podge pumpkin. What is fall feels to you? Fall feels to me is definitely a warm and cozy blanket, hot apple cider right next to a fire, making memories with my family and friends, especially at a pumpkin patch, and definitely a good smelling candle. For my candle this year, I wanted to add a little bit of an antique feel by using this thrifted container that I got from Goodwill this year. I added a little bit of a good smelling scent by using essential oils of cinnamon bark and also a clove. I will leave all the information in the description box down below on how I made this candle and also the kit that I used. I wanted to make this candle a little bit more elevated, so I used dried apple slices that I got from Home Goods years back and added more dried elements by using cinnamon sticks and also star of anise. This candle turned out absolutely adorable. I love it so much. I love the dried elements and of course all the fall feels that it brings to my space. It's definitely a good big check off my fall bucket list. Let me know guys if you end up making a candle. Leave a comment down below or you can visit me on my Instagram page at my Simple Valley home. Well, let's go ahead and get started decorating. My buffet is absolutely one of my favorite antique pieces that I've ever thrifted. I got it for a steal for $200 at a thrift store, and I still kept my beautiful secondhand Goodwill lamp in this space from summertime. I DIY'd it a while back by painting it Olwa bronze by Behr, and I just still wanted to keep that cozy ambiance in this space. To start decorating, I'm going to be using this mirror that I recently got from Goodwill to add light and also height. I love the frame, but it was a little bit too bright, so I rub and buffed it European gold just to make it more of a matte finish. Now, I could have stopped here with just the mirror, but I wanted to add an inspirational pic by using my recently thrifted oil painting of this fall scene. I carried on that rub and buffed on the edges of the frame just to kind of tie in along with the mirror and also tone down the copper colors. Throughout my home, I've been slowly adding family heirlooms, and one of them has been my grandmother's doilies. I love them. I inherited them recently from my mother, and I just love adding that perfect texture just to create a little bit of coziness in this space. So I'm going to add it into the corner of my buffet, and I love them because it brings that Nancy Meyers aesthetic. Okay, let's go ahead and add something visually beautiful in this corner area. And I wanted to bring more dried elements in my home and create more of like a dramatic effect on this space because my ceilings are really high and I wanted something that just screams fall and is just timeless looking and also gives me a lot of drama. So I decided to add more bittersweet in this corner, and how I did that is I made this beautiful arrangement. Okay, here's my beautiful arrangement that I ended up making. To start off with is this beautiful vessel that I got from Goodwill. I spray painted it Olwa bronze by Behr, and then I took some floral foam and stuffed it down the middle. I harvested some twigs in my backyard and around my neighborhood, and I stuck those in the floral foam. Now, the next step is to get bittersweet from your local nursery. I got mine from Balladuck here in Omaha, Nebraska. And if you guys know bittersweet, it is like a vine. It's twigs that you just kind of spread apart and you can weave them in and out of your arrangements. So I took those vines and I stuffed it down the middle with the foam and the twigs, and I weaved it through the twigs. And to cover up that styrofoam ball, I added moss. The moss is what I wanted to just kind of carry on another dried element, and I wanted to make sure that it was a natural like amber color just to tie in with the gold. I didn't want to use green. Just like my cabinet for fall, I wanted to create another beautiful vignette, and I decided to make another pumpkin patch over in this space. So I'm going to be using my thrifted silver tray just to kind of carry it in this space, because my Pottery Barn cabinet does have all silver elements in there. So I wanted it to be the perfect thing in this space to kind of be cohesive. I have these beautiful stems that I got from Prairie and Bloom. I love how realistic they are. We're just going to place them on the tray just as so. Now for this arrangement, just like my centerpiece on my table, we are going to add dried elements to this space just to make it look a little bit more realistic, and also have your eye come down from my bittersweet tree down to this space. So we're going to put it on top, but we're not done yet. We're going to do a little bit of fluffing once we add our pumpkins to our pumpkin patch. All the pumpkins this year were so much fun to pick, and I wanted to use the same one that I had in my cabinet just straight across the room. I used these beautiful also pumpkins that I got recently from Prairie and Bloom. I love how realistic they are, and I wanted to add more orange, so I got this tiny little cutie from Hobby Lobby. Now I realized that I needed a little bit more brown to carry in this space, so I'm going to be using a couple items that just have those color tones, and I'm going to be using more of those dried leaves that I got from Joann's. They are essential when it comes to using your arrangements, so if you guys ever end up spotting them around, any dried leaves, pick them up. They are the perfect element to add to your space. I'm going to be using them here and there throughout this arrangement just to create a little bit different texture, and I'm going to add more pine cones because I have carried those through my cabinet. I wanted to bring it over in this area as well. While placing my pine cones, I also wanted to let you guys know, with your fluffing of your leaves, you want to make sure that all of them are weaved in and out of each other. Don't just stack them on top. You want to make it look as realistic as possible. I wanted to carry that red theory into this space, that pop of something. So I picked up these stems from Michael's. I love the burgundy texture, and also it brings a little bit of a look of a dried element without being too messy. Creating a candlelight glow in your space is definitely a must, and I'm going to be using this oil lamp that I got years ago from Palm Springs in replace of a candle. I love this thing. It is so pretty. I actually recently ordered the oil from Amazon. I'll leave it in the description box down below. But I wanted to create a little bit of a texture and also more pumpkins, so we are going to be doing a DIY craft project. We're going to be Mod Podging a pumpkin, and I highly recommend this. This was so much fun, guys. I picked up these gorgeous napkins from Home Goods, and they were so perfect because they add that pop of red theory with that vintage feel. So we're going to go ahead and start. So we're going to take our napkins and we're going to take them apart. part. You don't really need the napkin-y part, I'm going to call it, because it just creates a little bit of ruffle. Once you take that napkin-y part off, you're going to want to cut your floral into little circles. Create like a little patchwork. I find this a lot easier than doing the whole thing just because it will start to crimp. So we're going to create almost like a quilt on this pumpkin. So if you are using light color napkins, you want to make sure your pumpkin is white, not orange, because it will show through. I'm going to take my Mod Podge with a paintbrush, and we're just going to go ahead and take it and put it on top of the pumpkin first. Then what you're going to want to do is you're going to take your little patch and you're going to place it as so and smooth it out. Once you smooth out your little patchwork, you're going to want to take your Mod Podge again and do another thin layer on top. I find when you do a thin layer, it's actually less goopy. The more thick you put it, the less it will be harder to work with. You're going to want to do one section at a time. Don't do too much. Get to the point where the top is done, let it dry, then flip it over and then finish. And I also find if you take the stem off, it's actually better because then you'll really be able to put that patchwork underneath where the stem would be, and it would be a little bit more put together. The dry time is 30 minutes. It dries in a matte finish. There's several different sheens. There's a glossy sheen, and there's also a spray that kind of creates like a seal. You don't need that for this pumpkin. I think that you need that seal only if you're using like outdoor projects. Also, if you are going to be using fabric, make sure you do like a patchwork as well, or strips. Don't use it as one full swoop because again, it will be harder to work with, it will crimp, and it just won't be as smooth and finished. Let's move over to the living room and start decorating my new side table that I recently got from my living room from my girlfriend Ashley. Thank you so much, Ashley, from the bottom of my heart. This is such a special piece and I will cherish it always. She picked it up in her neighborhood and immediately thought of me, and it's just so wonderful to have friends think of you in special ways. We are going to start off by refinishing this piece. It's going to be a temporary fix. This finish is going to get rid of the white, but unfortunately not the black. But this will be definitely a temporary fix to get us through the holidays. While we are finishing that side table, we're also going to DIY this lamp that I got from Goodwill for $5. I love to have lamps throughout my space and have them all a cohesive look. So I'm going to be using the same spray paint that I use through all my home, and that is Bear by Ova Bronze. I love to add different lampshades to my lamps just to create a little bit more personality for each of them. But this spray paint is my favorite. It adds antique flair. It's not a true black, and I just love the sheen that it brings to it. Let's go ahead and start finishing this beautiful side piece, and I'm going to be using Restore a Finish. I will leave it in the description box down below. This stuff is awesome, but if your piece is been through a lot such as this, it's just a temporary fix. If it has minor scratches such as water rings or just like a light scraping from wear and tear, this stuff's awesome. You're going to take your wool, you're going to dip it, and you're just going to go with the grain of the wood and rub it in. They say you could use a paper towel, but most people find when you use the steel wool, especially the finest steel wool, it actually gets in the wood a lot easier and it restores it a lot better. You have to work little at a time because it says in the back of the can to wipe it down immediately after you get your little section. So you want to do section by section, do a little bit at a time. I went ahead and did the whole piece just because I wanted the glossy finish just to be throughout the whole thing, and plus it needed it. It was a little extra dry. I'm going to let it dry overnight. I'm going to wipe it down in the morning just to make sure that there's no leftover residue. I had to go over it one more time the next day, but in the end results, it's a lot better than what it was. Most of my decor will be covering up the scratches, but I am very pleased with this product. Now let's go ahead and start decorating. Here is how my lamp turned out. I absolutely love the finish. We're going to be using a red lampshade that I got from Amazon. I'll leave it in the description box down below, but I wanted to use that red theory again in this space. I'm going to add it to the left hand side just to create a little bit of heaviness, and I'm going to be adding some texture with my secondhand tapestry that I got from my mother. I remember growing up and having this in her house, and I'm so excited to have it in mine. Yes, it is floral, but guys, you can decorate with anything you love in your home, especially things that bring you joy. To me, these still have those fall colors with the yellows and reds. Now you can add a lamp to the other side of the table, but we are going to be adding height in a different way by using a topiary. This topiary is the sister topiary of my entryway table. I got 2 of them from Goodwill. I placed it in a secondhand vessel that I also got from Goodwill, and I wanted to add texture just throughout my home by using this ribbon that I got from Hobby Lobby. The amber colors will pick up from the tapestry and also create a little bit of a fall feel. To complete this topiary, we're going to start making a grouping, and I want to add more dried elements and also a different texture by using this thrifted basket. I added pine cones just to carry on those pine cones and more of those dried apples. I wanted to bring fall feels by using some corn husks and also a little bit of dried pumpkins. My son actually loves these little dried pumpkins. I have to be kind of careful with them with him, but they are super cute, and I love that they're orange and they bring a good texture. And of course, we have to have pictures of family members on your side tables. This is a picture of my son. I do need to update it, but we are going to add an antique flair by using more of those books, those antique books that I've carried throughout my home, creating another riser, and of course adding a beautiful glass pumpkin. This one I've had for quite some time. I don't know where I got it, probably most likely from Goodwill, but the amber colors pick up through everything throughout this tablescape. Now let's go ahead and add a little bit of ambiance in this space besides my lighting, and this beautiful candle that we made is the perfect thing. Now I wanted to hide the cord underneath this new piece because it was a little bit high, and so I decided to use my thrifted chest that I recently got from Goodwill. Not only does it bring texture in this space and storage for my son's toys, but it still wasn't high enough, so I decided to add coziness by using blankets. It definitely hid the cord. You can use books and also pillows, but this is a definitely way to hide the cord. I love how it turned out, and it just brought a little bit of more texture to this space.